Morning. Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Music Maker. I'm taking the day off today, which I have to kind of force myself to do every now and then to just basically unstrap from the desk. That sounds filthy. Step away from the desk and do something else. Even if it's just going to a cafe or something. And it made me think about how important that time away is for our work and our creativity. Because I could literally sit there all day, every day, producing. And that's not just producing music, because actually I couldn't sit there doing all music all day. I just like creating stuff. Music, images, websites, whatever it is. I really just love creating. And I appreciate the irony that I've taken the day off and yet I'm recording this. But this is going to be a short one. It's just, I quite like the idea of a change of scenery. So it's not necessarily just me at my desk with my little webcam. It's just me in my car with my phone. Anyway, it's making me think about the importance of time away from your work. And I'm not just thinking like a holiday. I'm thinking just stopping working and doing other things. And not necessarily just for the stress relief of the whole thing, but actually for vibrational purposes. I'm a huge believer that we vibrate in accordance to the emotions we're emitting and all sorts of things going on. So if we're kind of sitting there all day, every day, I know I start to resent my work, especially if I'm not landing anything, or especially if things aren't necessarily going the way I'd like them to go. And I can't think that, I don't think that resentment build-up is good for my creativity. And not just creativity, good for the work that I produce when I'm in that mood. So it must be a bad idea to sit there resenting the work I'm doing. But it's good work, but I'm giving it stupid work vibes. And I don't want to do that. And I kind of think that if that's the energy I'm putting into the work I'm doing, I should take the time to do something for me, even if it is just a change of scenery, to lift myself. Because I think that's so important, that we lift our vibration by doing other things. And this is actually a reminder for me to do it more often. Let's take this for example. When I first started out going full time as a composer, I noticed almost all of my placements came in when I was on holiday. I thought, well, that's weird, isn't it? I'd go on holiday and I'd get an email. It was like, oh, just got a trailer. Yay! And I started to notice, oh, wait a second. Maybe if I take time to unwind and step away, maybe that just means that I'm sort of opening myself up for these opportunities. And I'm not saying that I'm doing this to receive opportunities and to receive payments and such. I just think it's a healthy part of the process. Not working is a healthy part of working, which in England, in Britain, the attitude towards work is, I think, really bad. There's this kind of subconscious belief that work has to be hard, and you shouldn't enjoy it. And if you do enjoy it and it isn't hard, then you must be cheating, or you're lazy, or someone else is missing out because of it. So all of these unconscious thoughts sort of sit there with me when I take a day off, and I think, hey, I've worked really hard. And then I have to kind of battle with those internal dialogues. So instead of battling with those internal dialogues, I'm going to try and sit with them, probably in a cafe, let them play out, and just kind of like two arguing strangers. I'm sitting there, I can see they're arguing, but I don't really care. And then I just have a cup of coffee and then go somewhere else and leave them to it. And I think you should think about that with your work, not your battling internal dialogues. I think you should think about, well, hold on, how can I take more time for me to improve my work. It's a funny old thing. It's like we're not doing it to improve our work. We're doing it that the improvement to our work and mental health and mindset and energetic vibration are all improved as a byproduct. It's kind of a weird thing sitting here in your car speaking to your phone. I know lots of people do it with FaceTime and stuff, but I don't like doing FaceTime, I'll be totally honest, although this is kind of weird FaceTime with myself. But anyway, little one today. I wonder if anything interesting will happen today when I'm on the day off. And then there's the problem there, that I start thinking to myself, ooh, I hope something comes in. No, stop it. I'm not here for that. Let go. Just chill out, you know? And this is actually the advice I often give my students, which is when you're working, if you get to the point of too much resistance, or even mild resistance in the work, just stop. And, you know, the problem I have always encountered with my work, with my music, with my art, whatever it is I allocate a certain amount of work to do during the week, and I almost inevitably get it done earlier. I mean, I've kind of done, apart from one thing, I've done my week's work and it's Thursday morning. And I've always just then taken the work from the following week and then put it into those 3 days. So I'm constantly working, whereas I'm not rewarding myself for all that hard work because I feel guilty. And these days are about me kind of letting go of that guilt and being okay with it. It feels actually really nice to say that out loud, because everyone celebrates working hard and drive. And no one celebrates taking time off to reward yourself because, I mean, more than 20 days holiday? Dude, come on. Taking the mick a bit, aren't you? And there's these kind of like weird bubbling undertones. And this is one of the things I've always struggled with regard to being a freelancer or, working for myself. I'm not, technically run my own companies, but being a freelancer, you then suddenly realize that all of these underneath words and conversations and comments sit with you and unfortunately start to dictate the way you work. You think, well, I've got to hustle. I've got to work really hard till I get somewhere. So for years and years and years, I worked really, really hard to be a full-time composer. When that day hit, I worked really, really hard to make more money and land more trailers and get more adverts. And when I was getting, there was a point when I was getting, 4, 5 placements a month, sometimes more. And it felt empty. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that out loud because I know there's a lot of you out there thinking, I want to get my first placement. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't chase those things. And I mentioned this in previous episodes too. I'm trying to rewire myself after decades of hustle to be a freelance composer and then to be a successful freelance composer. And that's another reason why I started doing these podcasts, or the Trailer Music Composers podcast, and this podcast, was because I wanted to kind of pull back the curtain a bit. No one talks about how bloody hard it is. No one talks about how lonely it is. No one talks about how stressful it is when you don't get placements. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, so excited about, I'm guilty of this too, before you think I'm laying into you. I'm so excited to have landed this, I'm so honoured. This team at this trailer has, this team at this label, you guys are amazing. And that's all fine. But when we don't balance it with really struggling today, haven't had a placement in months, my safety net, my runway is really running low, really, pooping the bed. because we don't get that balance. And this is when we go into that world of social media, we start to then think that just having all those placements is going to avoid all of the other stuff, all of the negativity. And, you kind of start to think, oh, well, maybe it's going to drop all of these internal dialogues. It doesn't. Sometimes it makes those worse. Oh, I've had loads of placements. Then the little voice goes, you don't deserve it, you're rubbish. Oh, damn it. So I've got to work harder. So I work harder to shut those voices up. Today is about not doing that. And I'm sharing this with you. It's the reason I started these podcasts, was to share that even someone who is considered to have reached success in their field, which is a composer, it's still hard, guys. And you've still got to make time to take days off. And my hand's shaking. I should really get a phone with one of those cool little stands on it. But anyway, you've really got to take time off to enjoy the fruits of your labour. And if that means that you work 3 days a week, who cares? Who cares if you work 3 days a week? And this is, believe me guys, I'm saying this for myself. I feel guilty not working. I feel guilty that I earn money from music. I feel guilty that I have earned good money from my music. I feel guilty that other people aren't earning money from their music. I feel guilty that posts aren't getting enough interaction. Just riddled with guilt. So it's a case of take this time. Try and let go of that. Because even the goals I'm setting today, when I get there, I will set more goals. And when you get your first placement, your first viral track, your first whatever it is, whatever that goal is, celebrate it. Take time to feel all those feelings and let them go. Because there's always something else to chase. You become a success on YouTube, you'll look at someone who's a success on Instagram and go, oh, I want that too. Or vice versa. Become a success on TikTok, you look at someone who's nailing it on YouTube, you think, oh mate, I wish I was good at YouTube. I mean, I've been doing YouTube for 5 years, 6 years. Only just scraping 5,000 subs. Most of my videos get sub 400 views, which in a lot of people's views is an absolute failure. And most people probably would have stopped. But I want it to be part of my process. Much like it's nice to take a photo of your artwork when you finished it. I actually really enjoy talking to someone when I'm working. I know I'm talking to myself essentially, but I'm not. I'm talking to you. You're listening. And that mitigates some of the negative side of my work, which is the loneliness. Yeah, okay, I talk with publishers and whatnot when I'm writing the tracks for them. But I'm still sat on my own all day. So it's becoming quite long and sob story. It's not meant to be. It's meant to just kind of bring this aspect of the work to you. And I see a lot of the drive to share things is a good thing, because we want to celebrate each other's art and celebrate each other's work and achievements. But we also want to support each other when it's hard. And if this is the way that I can support you by saying, you know what, you're not the only one who struggles with a mild, if not overly possessive obsession with work. mean, I know loads of people who do that, and you're not the only one who feels guilty, and you're not the only one who feels scared. But what we can do is take some time and enjoy it. And if that enjoyment comes in the form of sitting in a cafe with mild anxiety, but just being there with it, I mean, I'd probably have the mild anxiety if I was sat in an office. In fact, it'd probably be much more stressful. I don't want to be in an office, I want to be in an office. So that's okay. I know these are quite rambling and I jump around a lot, but that's kind of the nature of my wiring. I hope you can eke out the message. I'm sure if I gave this video to an editor that wasn't me, it would become like a 2-minute video of go to a cafe, done. But yeah, so maybe today, when you hear this, take some time, maybe just a few minutes, just to kind of take stock and be like, well done. Even if you haven't had placements, because placements don't matter. I look back at my career and the highlights of my career aren't the placements. My highlights of my career are my experiences as a result of the work I've had. Recording with orchestras, writing tracks, trailerized versions of my heroes, it's those things that I look back and go like, yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, okay, the money's great, but the money's a tool. And the placements are like, let's be honest, bragging rights. Yeah, I've done Disney. I've done Marvel. Yeah. And yes, I do it too, so don't worry. But yeah, I've kind of forgotten the point of this. Oh yeah, that's it. To stop working and take stock. And that's what podcasts have done for me for years, actually. And that podcasts are my favourite way to absorb information. Also, you get to know the hosts and you think, yeah, this guy seems cool, or this girl seems cool. And it just, you're not there for snappy edits. You're not there for like a hit of information. You're not there for entertainment in that way. Well, I'm not. I'm usually there for the conversation. So if you have anything to say about this, pop it in the chat below, whether you're on YouTube or Substack or my website. And I hope you enjoy your time celebrating all of your small wins and taking stock and taking time away from your work to kind of lift yourself.